Be of good cheer. The daily what ifs are here. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to the Daily What Ifs channel once again. I'm your host, Visual Disturbance, aka Brian, in the house tonight here on this What Ifs program. I want to thank you all walks of life, all humans, to this channel this evening here with a big hug and open arms. And thanks for attending with me this evening, because your time is valuable. I really appreciate it. I really genuinely do. And thank you all so very much for being here. I created the What Ifs series here on the Visual Disturbance channel to create a atmosphere to question narratives and to give my perspective, and with a little touch of skeptical mindset. So welcome everybody here. If you're new, hit that like button, share this thing out. Thank you all so very much for sharing and being supportive to the Visual Disturbance channel. Like I said on last week's broadcast, this is therapy for me. And I'm so very thankful for your time on this beautiful Friday evening. So the title tonight, guess what? Do breakaway civilizations exist? What if? We're going to go down the rabbit hole tonight, folks, because this is one of my favorite topics, and I've not really talked about it much. But when I come to my research and reading, it's one of my favorite to-do lists to talk about breakaway civilizations. So, what if, let's just get into it. How about that? So, what if there's a breakaway civilization that happened back, I don't know, 40s, 50s? Anybody know? And maybe even prior to that. Maybe even the 1800s. Maybe that's why there's technological advancements in villages and everything throughout the last couple hundred years, where there's gaps in time where things just don't add up. Things just don't add up. So what's really going on? And the first thing I thought about to present this material here this evening, the one and only thing I could go with right at the top of the show, is talking about Tartarian Empire, Tartarian structures, things that just make you go, you know? It's like that psychological, like when you look at it and you observe it, your perception on it, you can't even make it up. You're thinking, we can't even build a house or any kind of thing to that complexity without it falling down in about 20 years. So, but if you see on the screen here in Chicago, Illinois, 1893, look at that. You got Buffalo, New York, 1901. St. Louis, Missouri, that's going to be a big one, 1904. San Francisco, California, 1915. Well, guess what, folks? Here's my take. When you think about technology as it is and how it stands today, and you really have to ponder on what's going on, how did they manipulate whatever it is on a micro level to build structures from the pre-existing materials of the earth? A lot of people are like, well, Brian, they're just construction workers out there with high cranes, you know? But I would have to beg to differ, because in our reality today, we can barely even keep the cranes working, but with the little wind comes by and it makes them fall over. So what's going on, folks? So when you look at this slide here with Chicago, Illinois, and etc., sorry about that, with Chicago, Illinois, etc., and my first take is on this with the world fairs and talking about exposition of the narrative that has been, let's just say, brought back into our society in modern time the last few years. Tartarian Empire, the structures, the architect work, we couldn't pull this off if we wanted to, unless we had a gigantic 3D printer that came from the sky and started printing out structures. So, with the world fairs and everything, and the obelisk back in the St. Louis, Missouri narrative, and these places started getting water, started getting villages, people started gathering, and some of the structures today in St. Louis, if my memory serves me correct, I think there's a bank that has been renovated several times throughout history, and it is interesting to say the least. So, you know, is it speculative? Is it theory? What is it? Is it technology? Is it mankind forgetting where they come from, what they know, how they can understand things? or is it something that the powers that be that have broke away from? And when I was bringing up the material here tonight, I was thinking about technology. And periodically throughout time, there's big pockets, like I referred to a moment ago, where you have the Native Americans, you have, we mentioned many times from the channel, Kukulkan, Chichen Itza, Tenochtitlan, and Göbekli Tepe, all these archaeology sites. But when you look at it and you really look at it with the panorama view and your perspective of all corners of it and really review it, things just do not add up. When it comes to daily walks of life in the last several years and even my whole entire life, I have been told and taught narratives that don't make any sense. When it comes to chisels or anything to modern tools, there's so many things to question when it comes back to the area of time of the, let's just say, pre-Adamic or the days before Noah. So the end of the Diluvian world. So did humanity lose some of their flavor, some of their spark, some of their understanding? Was the biblical flood in Noah's day, did it completely tear down the paradigm? Was there things that just didn't make sense when the Tower of Babel? What is it? What if? So I mentioned this document many times here, and we're going to show that here in a second. And it's the Flying Road document. When you think about the Flying Road document that I presented many times on this channel, it's a three-letter agency document that I've presented a long time ago. We brought this up, and it talks about, let's just say, things of a interdimensional concept, okay? Things that just make you go, wow. Astroplane, astrophysicists, quantum leaping, what have you. But when you look at it on this document alone, this is 1947 when this document dropped in July the 8th, and it was identified as the Flying Road, so to speak, and it talks about, I'll just summarize here, craft that would be coming and going, popping in and out of time, popping in and out of the aerospace, and all that good stuff. And when things started to, like if a jet was trying to travel to either tail it, shoot at it, it would dematerialize in the disintegrate the attacking ship, okay? Some kind of ray of light, some kind of radiant energy would blast the adversary, okay? So these things are coming back into the UFO phenomenon, and they're talking about the congressional hearings. They showed the Hellfire missile that hit the tic-tac shaped object on the ocean, and all of a sudden it disintegrates the rocket. It looks like it absorbs the rockets and doesn't even take any kind of damage. What if we're looking at a breakaway civilization of humanity? So let me throw something else out at you. Not too long ago, I did a program and I showed Mr. Tim Burchett from Tennessee talking about when you look in the aqua life and you look at aliens and the UFO phenomenon. We talk about fallen angels on here, demons, what have you. We've been all over the place here on the controversial topics here on the Visual Disturbance channel. He even said verbatim when he's walking the sidewalk, somebody was interviewing him and speaking about there was 5 to 6 bases that was underwater. Well, just not till recently I come upon this and stumbled upon something. And what they found, they're claiming it's humans. They're claiming this is not what Tim Burchett said. There's more study out there, more documentation on this, but there's people, okay? They're claiming people of some shape or form of nature that are like us, but their bone density is wrong. Their bone density, their structure, because of the high pressure of being so-called underneath the water. Talking about encounters of the third kind of stuff, okay? But we have a little human thrown in the mix. So what if, let's get back to this three-letter agency, what if, when it's referring to this document right here, when it's talking about the Flying Row, let's zoom in on it. It talks about, there's, bullet points here. Part of the disc carry crews. Others are under remote control. Their mission is peaceful. The visitors contemplate settling on this plane. And this one always gets me, folks, because number three, it says these visitors are human-like but much larger in size. So here's the kick. They're talking about these humans that are underneath the water on these underwater bases that are supposedly, different bone density, what have you. But what if we're looking at the ancient days of Noah, in some shape or form that we have Nephilim of some party or some tribe has miraculously survived in some shape or form? When you look at the Anunnaki account, they talk about that they had dreams and visions and what have you, and they built crafts or built these arks to literally escape the flood because they wanted to not die, right? When you look at the biblical narrative and you look at the Enoch, the demons and stuff that we have now that's literally here still to this day are on the face of the earth, going around causing disruptions. Literally, 2025 is looking a little crazy out there, right? When we always talk about a little spray, make you go cray-cray. Well, we got these embodied spirits roaming around, what have you, extraterrestrial, celestial. It's a big old playground, okay? So when I think about this and I go down my rabbit holes in my bluegrass Kentucky brain, what's left of it, in my visual cortex, I think about the large-sized people, and I think about Nephilim and the Raphaim, and I think about what if these information, and they knew about this back in 1947 and all these other years when it comes to the Hopi Indians, the Shawnees, all these different Native American tribes, the Mayans, the Samaritans, all these cultures knew about these spacecraft, so-called Vimanas, Ephas, what have you. And I've said what have you so many. How many times I've said that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Probably more, maybe more than that. But that's not part of the show. To critique. But to put everything aside as a joking matter, I remember very specifically about March of 2021 that the Antarctica Treaty, right? There was all the world leaders came together and they was coming together as one body, one accord, and saying, hey, we got an adversary coming. We got to figure out how to combat it. So with all this stuff going on with 3i Atlas, with all the AI stuff going on in reality, one would have to wonder, what is really going on? Confusion, left, right, up, or down. Nobody seems to know what's going on. There's people with higher degrees and higher power authority, astronomers and what have you, saying one thing, very credible sources saying there is a craft, there's these things, but then you can go back through antiquity and say, hey, there's a petroglyph, there's a hieroglyphic with an ancient craft, and now we're sitting around here with our thumbs in the mouth and don't even know what's going on. So a hypothetical here, and just speculative mindset, like I said at the beginning of the program, what if periodically, throughout time, that these people that are trying to contemplate settling, let's just say this maybe on this document might just be a little fluff. I'm not saying it's not credible. I'm not saying anything to that level. I'm just saying question everything and take it with a grain of salt. So hypothetical here, what if they're referring to these ancient people that when they have craft that are perceivable to us, our perception can't see them, because there's a big debate right now with orbs, ships, planes, what have you, it's in the sky, and they're talking about a vibratory rate on this 1947 document, and they're dense matter. So what if they have some kind of ability with plasma? Because, there was some stuff that was coming in the skies here in the last few days, right, this week. Something comes from the great north and goes all the way down to Florida, and a lot of people are like, I've never seen this in all the existence of my reality. And it makes you wonder what's really in the skies, right? So this radiant energy, this astral plane that they're referring to in this slide here, they talk about the Lakas. Oh, man, he scared me to death. Hello. But somebody subscribed and about gave me a fit. Woo! Y'all do that every time. And I kid you guys not. I kid you all not. I thought every time it's so super loud in my headset. Y'all got me again. Speaking of radiant energy, my harmonic system, the crystals in my ears, just exploded. So thank you so much for getting me fired up. Got to put a light underneath you, Brian. Let's fire it up. But anyways, the Talas, the Lakas. We're talking about Hindu mythology, okay? So let's just say the star forts that we've talked about all these years, we talked about the Antarctic, we talked about the Bermuda Triangle, and now Mr. Tim Burchett is talking about these underwater bases and they're coming around the bend, so to speak. And what if we're preparing for something? What if you got the mechanisms of the Golden Dome that's supposed to be building in the western states here, right, in the America? And then you also have, well, Stargate, Project Stargate. So it's interesting for an adversary to, whatever's coming, shield us with some magnets, something supernatural, but it's almost like sci-fi blurry imagery, and we got something way bigger and badder and technology that far surpasses anything of our understanding. But I say there's some folks out there watching this channel and thinking, man, have you lost your mind? Well, go look it up. CERN, all these proton accelerators and hadron colliders can do some work, okay? They can do some work. Just saying. Welcome to insanity of visual disturbance. With all that said and done, you talk about the Golden Dome that they're implementing and all these different things. And what adversary or what foreign thing could penetrate it? What if? So when I think about this and I think about on the cusp of where we are and what our reality is coming to, right? We're talking about the giants of old, the Nephilim, the Raphaim, the Gilbarim. We're talking about the ancient creatures that are on the face of the waters. And you talk about Noah's flood and the biblical narrative and talking about all flesh on the face of the earth was destroyed because of what had been done on the earth. And I say we're at Noah 2.0. I said it last week on the What If program. Noah 2.0 in action on steroids. Okay, so let's have more fun here. What if? The abduction cases are off the chart. 2021, if my memory serves me correct, or maybe 2022, they're talking about first, second trimesters of women, pregnancies out of the blue, and then all of a sudden the third trimester, boom, miraculously the baby is taken. I interviewed somebody a long time ago on another show that has been documented that she unfortunately has had that happen to her, and God bless her. Okay? So these abductions and everything, there's people talking about this on when they have visions and dreams and if they can recount whatever has been done to them. Some people have amnesia. Some people losing time. You have people saying, well, it's just everybody's watching too many movies and drinking too many, certain things that you put in your body, right? Or they are saying that they're not cognitively there or not mentally able to handle things, or just deem them crazy conspiracy theorists with tinfoil hats on their skull. But these people are saying that they see visions. They'll see creatures that look like aqua-life creatures, like something of the nature of blue beings, like we referred to on the channel, or there'll be people and military personnel in their visions and dreams or whatever. So all these people hallucinating, is it holographic technology? What is it? What is it? So to me, I'm thinking to myself, I keep hearing in my mind talking about the Genesis 6 verse 4 moment when the sons of God made with the daughters of men, they took wives as they chose. They took wives by force, or in some cases when you read some extra books, they talk about some of the wives was abducted to believe that these beings was of a high stature. The Gilbarim they knew 10 fluent languages and be able to subdue the women and then have these giant babies that would come to the realization and the manifestation of Nephilim, and then after the flood, the Raphaim. So what if we're dealing with the Raphaim here, and this is why we're talking about the contemplating on settling here on our plane of existence, these large light beings. So what if it's all connected? What if? What if they periodically come with this technology and they drop it to us? They give us a little technology, like the old Hopi prophecy, all these technology that throw out Native American. They would be pros and cons. They would bring up civilizations, bring up the villages, bring up technology, give them better javelins, better arrows, whatever it is, and show them technology. But there'd be cons to it. You'd have to give up your women and children. That is documented. That's not from me. That's documented. So, hypothetical, they raise countries up. They raise civilizations up, and they crush them. They tear them down. And it makes you wonder. It makes you really think about which way or where we're headed. So, is the fragments of mankind, is everything fragmented? As people being hysterical. They're in panic. They're watching too much television, listening to too much programming, or, getting blasted with all these different frequencies and causing people to lose their wit about them. Is that what's happening? What if? What if, right? So I want to show you something real quick before we get into the really deep, my perspective on where this is all headed. So I don't know about you guys, but I've watched a lot of movies when I was a youngster. So I thought about this for a moment, just as some bonus features here for the Daily What Ifs. And I thought about The Predator, right? The Predator, and they have a new movie called Badlands, and it's supposedly it's a really good movie, what have you. But The Predator's been around for, 1984, 1985? Forgive me if I'm wrong on those dates. Arnold, the one on the left, Arnold Schwarzenegger was on the left side, when he did the first film. And on the right side, there's the brand new one. It looks like they changed it up a little bit. That's all I'm going to comment on that. a little different in vision, a little variation of the Predator. But on the left side, you got your dominant-looking 8-footer. And on the right, you got your dominant 8-footer, but with a little different, let's just say, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, so the Predator, go back and look at my Facebook post on my Facebook Visual Disturbance. You'll see where I'm coming from. But when you think about this, the movie, it's like all the films that's came out, and it's like predictive programming. They want you to know that there's this predator, this entity or whatever, showing up with all this supernatural technology, and the humans being hunted. So it's interesting to me when I process all this, and I think about like the stories of me reading into the hunting of certain individuals, and it's like a sport. And on this film, the predator deems it as a sport to conquer humanity. They want to see what man is made of. So, reiterating back what I was saying earlier, what if it's something to the degree that these watchers that we talk about in the biblical narrative in the book of Enoch and other books, what if they really are watching? And they're showing us right now, and they're calculating everything, our biometrics, everything, and building an attribute listing of what we can or cannot do and how we can survive things, right? Only the strong survive, right? You always hear that all the time. I remember specifically there was these big triangle craft that could hold up to 80 occupants, and they said, I was listening to either Coast to Coast or some type of very credible source when it comes to UFO stuff and UAP. They was claiming that this craft would come periodically and take folks, and they was large beings. And I'm not even referring to this. It has nothing to do with what this document that I showed earlier today, the 1947 Flying Row. So, large beings, upgraded version of humans, what have you, Nephilim. What if? What if this is something that's so beyond spiritual, so beyond physical that we can't even process our paradigm of reality and our perspective? We've been spoon-fed so much rhetoric in our day and time, and so many good movies came back in the 80s, and they was literally showing us reality when it comes to these things that are creepy crawlers that are inside the earth or in the water, tic-tacs, what have you. That's what's going on in our reality. Is it? What if? Hypothetical. Call, like I said, 10 full hat loving folks out there, put your hands up in the air. And I can't see them, but they're there digitally. But yeah, so with the Golden Dome, we got that going on. We got Project Stargate. We got some type of foreign object in the sky that's 3-eye Atlas, and it's projecting projectiles. We got energy waves. We got geomagnetic energy. We got people that are being sensitive to it. There's reports all over the face of the earth, a lot in America and all over other countries, talking about anomalies with this 3-eye Atlas, and it's causing people to lose like their compass of understanding. My goodness, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? So, this breakaway civilization. About a month ago, I come across someone that is well known in the UFO community, and we're going to show a video. And he does a really good job explaining, because he said that he has information. He shared some stuff here in this short clip that I'm getting ready to show you guys. And this is Richard Dolan, okay? You can find him on X, and he's talks about disclosure, talks about these breakaway, runaway secrecy programs, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, all these different things. But if you really think about what happened in the 40s, and I just showed you that document in 1947, And if you go on in those documents, I think there's like 61 pages or maybe give or take, and they even go to say, to the extent we know who these things are, we know who they are. That was in 1947. So how come we can't process it now? But Richard Dolan, he thinks it happened in the 40s and the 50s. I think it happened in the 1800s, early 1800s. But we all are up to our opinion. But this man is very credible, and he got a lot more information than I do. And he thinks that this secrecy breakaway civilization started popping off around the 1940s, 1950s. So let's chime in here and see what's going on with Richard Dolan. One moment while we have technical difficulties. 1 second. 1 second. That's what happens when you go live, folks. All right, here we go. Here we go, folks. One moment. And sorry about that. Here we go. A little bit of technicalities. That's what happens when you talk about controversial stuff here on the Visual Disturbance. If I'll take the time here to thank you all so very much for the love and support. There's been a lot of donations here. God bless you guys, and thank you all so very much for being here. I appreciate it so very much, all the lovely donations. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. Let's get into it. Let's see what Mr. Richard Dolan has to say about these breakaway civilizations.
And then, of course, if they're able to go off-world in one way or another, you have to ask, what other things might they have learned that the rest of us don't know about? It would be as if a civilization, a mini civilization, is broken away from our own, hence a breakaway civilization. Not impossible. And by the way, you get echoes in some of the insiders of today. People like David Grush or Christopher Mellon or Luis Elizondo or Matthew Brown or many of the others. I think some of the things that they say align very eerily with the precedents from the 1940s and 50s, seems to me, in terms of potential breakaway type group and the runaway secrecy, the industrial intelligence partnerships like with Rand and Lockheed. All of that, I think the foundation for this was all laid in the 1940s and early 50s. All of the retrievals, the reverse engineering efforts, all of this happened in this very, very dense period. Basically, you're talking 5-6 years, the late 40s into the early 50s. Not a long period of time when so much happened, where the secrecy really kind of got laid down and gave us the world that we have today, which many other implications here. The undermining of the rule of law.
And that was a short video there. That was the end of it. But did you listen to him about what our world is today? And that's why I brought that up earlier about the St. Louis, the World Fairs, things manifesting some shape or form, put an obelisk out, and all of a sudden the city started creating and growing and whatever the narrative is. Wow, right? So Richard Dolan, UFO researcher, credible individual, talking about this particular topic and thinking it's the 40s and 50s. So let me give you my take on this. This is going to blow your mind, because if anybody's been watching the channel for a while, if you go back and look at 1954. We talked about this many times here on the channel about CERN, the Hadron Collider in Switzerland. It was being created. The architect work and everything was being done, and it was fully functional in some capacity and running on some level in 1955. Imagine that, right? So 40s and 50s, like he's talking about here and discussing. So you have to look at the Antarctica Treaty also. So we have the Admiral Byrd account talking about certain types of craft and certain types of individuals. Things are not what they seem, folks. And like I say all the time, maybe we're just a rat in a cage. Remember I was singing that song on here one day. But think about the secrecy, think about the technology, think about the efforts and to what lengths these folks would go through to put this secrecy. And I think it all ties in together. I think it's just one big club and we're just playing around and we're catching up. We're catching up. So, and speaking of catching up, this is going to crack your brain because, well, it cracked mine a little bit. And I cracked mine about 2019, and that was, and literally I did. Well, it didn't crack my brain, but I did mess something up, but visually speaking, and I had to laugh a little bit because it's getting a little sarcastic in the mix, and it's been a crazy week. Let me reiterate. wild week, prayers would be accepted. And I would love to have you all pray. So, been a little wild week. Let's stay on the horse. So, let's get back on the saddle and let's just check this out. So let me tell you all my take on this. This breakaway civilization, this technological secrecy, all these different acts, all these different top secret programs. We got Kirkland technology. We got ways to making things bounce off light perspective, so to speak, and be able to do free energy weaponry. I mean, everything. 0 point energy. I mean, we could go on and on and on and throw a little redneck ingenuity in there. Okay. But I just seen this today and I thought I'd share it with you guys. Check this out. So this creepy old bobblehead here, creepy robot powers up and immediately declares humanity as a resource to be manipulated or eliminated. So my first take on this, I was thinking Tron, and I was thinking on the level of molecular structure and dematerializing in the vibratory rate of the flying roll and what this thing is actually saying and what it's communicating with. So what if we have this omnipresent entities, okay? We have all these tech gadgets and whatever coming at us in full swing. In 2025, it really started. 2024 started really popping off. But if you really think about it and really just step back and look at the whole perspective, we're down in the rabbit hole right now, okay? We don't even know what AI is, and I will say this on the channel. I think it's something of ancient days of antediluvian and pre-Adamic world, and the days of Noah probably had nothing on us compared to what we have, but we're going to get there if unless the world ends. But Noah 2.0 on the rise once again. So let's just have fun here. We got what if moment. There's a what if. What if this robot is saying something that he's hearing, or whatever? Let's not even call it that. But what if it's coming down from the aether, and there's some type of spiritual application? I would check the box off as absolutely. So, what if we're building mechanisms, we're building infrastructure, we're building the golden dome, we're getting this golden age, we're building the infrastructure, the dystopian future is on the rise, we're building all these technological advancements super quick, super advanced, hypersonic, okay? We're getting there, we're doing it, we're testing, we got the Hell missiles, we're testing the tech. They've been doing a lot of testing, haven't they? Out in the oceans and everything. They've been doing a lot of military drills, military everything, Navy drills, whatever. And you go out there and they're saying, well, we got submarines out here, we got this, we're doing all these different types of games or whatever. So I thought about it. What if they're either containing something that the folks and the public doesn't need to know? Or what if they're training for something that's about to pop off out of the water and a pop out above our heads? Okay? And what if they have to have armies that is on another level, on another algorithm? Let's just say, while they want to do with us so much as testing on our neural pathways, like getting something on our head and to be able to control a robot because we're a superior. I've said it many times on here. These powers that be, these demons or whatever these entities are, they need us to interact. And when you talk about the movie Tron, we are the users. We have superior, right? Blood, sweat, and tears and bone. And with the image of God, when you talk about the referring of the biblical narrative, we're a special creature, right? We're a special human. I shouldn't even call it creature. According to this, though, we are creatures, right? We're resources and we're easily manipulated and to be obsolete, right? The expendables, correct? So, a what-if moment. What if we're building infrastructure to combat these entities that are putting a hit on us, and we're tired of being used as resources, using as a means to get technology, and maybe we've come to the point in time in this realm, in this area, in this 2025 moment, that man has finally got back to speed that was going on back to antiquity. What if? And the angels, we got fallen ones, the 200 watchers that fell on Mount Hermon. They're doing all kinds of despicable things back then, but what if they're coming in a different way? Just like the new Tron movie, Tron Ares is talking about, they come to us, we don't go to them. They're coming through a different way, folks. So, let's just have fun here. I just seen this today. Check this out. Did you see what China did? Did y'all see this? Watch this clip here. This will blow your mind. This is going to blow your mind. Let me make sure I don't mess it up. Let's not mess it up. So, here we go. We got it. let me turn the volume down for copyright purposes, and I'll just narrate it. So, as you can see here, it's like Terminator on steroids with iRobot from Will Smith, 2004 film, if I remember correctly. If you can see, they're all in sync, okay? I think it's called UB Tech from China. Has presented a new technological advancement of AI, fully autonomous army of androids, okay? So, we got these guys. We got this full race to getting your Neos, your Optimus, and all these other robotics to be your maid, your driver, your chauffeur, whatever. And we have these things. We have this technology. But China today just released this video, and I thought it was kind of compelling. You even got the shipping containers. It's kind of eerie and probably a little disturbing, but that's why we call it disturbance, visual disturbance. But according to the account, China begins world's first mass humanoid robot delivery. Okay? This is reaching the big milestone for robotics. UB Tech Robotics has now delivered hundreds of the Walker S2, they're called walkers, humanoid robots to real industrial workplaces. This is happening. So, could it be that this breakaway civilization, a what-if moment, that we haven't got the right algorithm to combat technological advancements that is superior of our own, but we'll get there one day because we're not the breakaway, right? We're the inferior race. You know, we're the indigenous people. I've heard everything under the sun. I've heard those terminologies used in the context of back in the day, but now they're speaking of it like that, like we're imbeciles, like, you know, literally baboons, you know, like a rat in a cage. And I'm not a big fan of that. I think it's so discouraging, and there's people out there that really want to live a peaceful life on this world and enjoy what God has put in play for us. It's bizarre and despicable that there's powers that be that want to put humanity on a chopping block. That's all I'm gonna say. So, what if that right algorithm hasn't been the keys, right? The keys hasn't been implemented, and one day we'll be able to combat and get that golden dome and get that vibratory rate to use for us, right? Disintegrate, re-manifestation, what have you. Because listen, folks, we talked about it last week. They're creating mechanism, creating concrete, creating materials that can have some weather come by and crack the ground, or earthquake come by, and then the ground would just, you know, the sidewalk or whatever it is can rejuvenate and bring itself back to its original state. This stuff is coming. So what if it's building an infrastructure so humankind can last this next incursion of these great fallen ones, or Nephilim, or whatever they are that are coming out of the cracks and crevices of the water? And these robots are saying, to get us to wake us up, like this creepy robot saying that we are resource and we're easy to be manipulated. So, there's my take on the daily what ifs. So when you think about the what ifs, this is where we're at on the Visual Disturbance channel. I like to be speculative. I like to have my take on it. Take it with a grain of salt. This is all from my perspective. But some of these bits and pieces of the puzzle piece are all kind of entwining. And some of these are hypotheticals, but a lot of this is not. You can go look it up, and this stuff is literally coming to your front door pretty much. So, on the what if today, what if humanity is coming a different way to try to combat the adversary that has been going through antiquity, that, you know, through Egypt, through all these other cultures and other civilizations that's crashed and failed. And this time around, maybe we've got a chance with this technological advancement. Or maybe it's the opposite. What if? Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they're going to try to use this as bait or whatever. We can only say, and we can only wait and see. But according to the technocrats and everybody out there in the reality, they're saying that 2030, if we make it to that, and I think it's bizarre that they're choosing dates. They've always a date choosing, right? You always notice that? They're always choosing dates. Always put us on fear, right? Fear-mongering. But I will leave you with this. Be of good cheer, right? The what-ifs are here. And that's what it's all about. Being happy and trying to be joyful in a dark world, and don't let things get to you. some of this stuff can be very frightening. Some of it can be it can cause somebody to be very fearful. And that's not what I'm shooting for here. I'm just trying to be informative that these things of some shape or form of nature have existed throughout time. And I think they still do to this day. But like I said, these entities and stuff are coming through a different way. And what are we going to do about it? And I think that I've just kind of explained how that man is going to use his technology, his wit, his intellect. But there's other applications that you can apply to that. That's called spiritual. That's called get ready spiritually. You know, there's only one true God that created everything, and turn to him before it's too late and get off this nonsensical ideology, because these fallen entities and everything, it's in everything. I think when you get to granite, different rocks, different things on a archaeology level, if you look at it and you think about what's underneath the earth, things have an energy signature, okay? How do you think they got things to levitate? Okay, there's certain the energy of the earth, and then plus these elements and these rocks are all over the earth. These archaeology sites are telling you a story. Okay, they're telling you how they done it. And when these ancient entities or ancient beings come around, 3-eye atlas, shooting projectiles, whatever it is, and we're having AI mechanisms with the T-1-800, whatever you want to call it, the walkers, the Optimus, whatever we come up with, these things will come one day once again. But what if it's all just a big psyop? And what if that it's just all just for control and just a big old theater show for entertainment purposes only? That's another take we have to take. But to me, this stuff is coming in very quick and very fast, and technology is speeding up substantially. And nobody can keep up with it. You can't tell if you're going north, south, east, or west. You don't know which direction you're going. And if you don't have your GPS, you can't get to your destination. I'm being sarcastic, but what I'm getting at, we need to use our understanding and discernment and think about this stuff and literally be prayed up, because things are getting kind of rocky. But exciting too, to say that what a time to be alive, and what a blessing just to have breath. And I say it many times here on the channel. This week has been a little crazy, and I just been thinking about a lot of things, and thinking about the 2019 when I had my accident, and I could not be here today. Could not be here presenting this material or even have this channel. So what a blessing is to be alive, and I don't take stuff for granted. I enjoy every single day, even though I don't have good days. Some days I can be really out of it. But I wanted to present this to you today, and I know it's been a week since we did a daily What If, but thank you all for the care and the support and always being here on the Visual Disturbance channel. And thank you. That's all. A big thank you to all, and welcome everybody here, all walks of life. Please subscribe, share this thing out. I welcome everybody to be here. That's what it's all about. We need to be a better human, and we need to change the world one day at a time, and we need to take one day and every day at a time, in 1 minute, 1 hour. We just need to be thinking about how truly blessed it is to be here, because this stuff right here, it's nothing but a miracle that we've actually gotten to this point. So we got to thank God Almighty for everything He's done and continue to do. But with that being said, I want to thank you all so very much for being part of this channel. We got everybody out there in the house tonight. I might give a few shout outs here before I get off. I want to thank you all so much for the donations here during the chat. God bless you guys so very much. Brian Norman, Tony, it's good seeing you. Cheryl, Ernie, I think I misread it. David Lawson, good seeing you. Brittany Cook, Rebecca, Mary, all you guys, Northgate, and Bill, good seeing you. Always a blessing. And I could go on and on. But I just want to thank you all so very much. But like I said, when I come into this program, cross-eyed indeed I am, no joke. And I want to thank you all so very much for everything. And keep it fresh, keep it real. And until next time, be of good cheer. Visual Disturbance is here for your visual disturbance entertainment purposes only. But I hope you all got something out of it. I really do. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you're blessed. But keep your head on a swivel. Thank you all so very much for being part of the What Ifs and the Visual Disturbance community. Check all the links in the description. I appreciate y'all so very much. Thank you all once again from the bottom of my heart. And until next time, Visual Disturbance, I am out of here. See you on the next Daily What Ifs.